The question stopped Ethan Carter's heart. For a moment, the entire room seemed to freeze around him. The rain hammered against the giant glass windows of the downtown Chicago office tower. Lightning flashed across the dark sky, and his boss stood only a few feet away, looking directly into his eyes. "Do you want to stay tonight?" The words echoed in his mind. Ethan wasn't a man who was easily surprised. Life had already thrown everything it could at him. But that question, coming from the last person he ever expected to hear it from, left him completely speechless. Before we continue, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be. At 36 years old, Ethan's life revolved around exactly two things: work and his 8-year-old daughter, Grace. 3 years earlier, his wife had walked away from their marriage and moved across the country. The divorce had shattered him emotionally and financially. Overnight, he had become a struggling single father, trying to balance long work hours with school lunches, bedtime stories, homework assignments, and countless sleepless nights. Most mornings began before sunrise. He would prepare Grace's breakfast, help her get ready for school, and then rush through Chicago traffic to arrive at work just minutes before his shift started. His boss, Victoria Hayes, was known throughout the company as a woman who demanded perfection. She rarely smiled. She rarely praised anyone. Most employees were terrified of her. To Ethan, she seemed like a person made entirely of steel. Yet despite her reputation, Ethan respected her. She was fair, intelligent, and incredibly successful. Still, he never imagined she noticed him beyond the reports he submitted and the deadlines he met. One rainy Thursday evening, Ethan was working late after nearly everyone had gone home. Grace was staying with a neighbor because he had an important project due the next morning. The office floor had become eerily quiet. Only the soft hum of computers remained. Around 9 o'clock, Victoria emerged from her office carrying a stack of files. She looked exhausted. For the first time since Ethan had known her, she looked less like a powerful executive and more like a tired human being carrying a burden nobody else could see. As she passed his desk, she accidentally dropped several folders. Papers scattered across the floor. Ethan immediately stood up to help. While gathering the documents, he noticed a photograph that had slipped from one of the folders. It showed a younger Victoria standing beside an elderly woman in a hospital bed. The smile on Victoria's face looked completely different from the woman everyone knew at work. Warm, genuine, human. Victoria quickly picked up the photo and thanked him. For a brief second, sadness appeared in her eyes. Then, it disappeared. The next. Next. Few weeks passed normally, but Ethan began noticing small things. Victoria often stayed late. Sometimes she looked emotionally drained. Sometimes she seemed lost in thought during meetings. One evening, after another exhausting day, Ethan made a joke while organizing reports. He laughed and said that between raising a daughter alone and surviving her deadlines, he deserved an honorary superhero cape. To his surprise, Victoria laughed. Actually laughed. It was a short laugh, but it changed something. For the first time, they spoke like ordinary people. Over the following months, they occasionally shared conversations after work. Nothing personal at first. Just small discussions about life, work, and family. Eventually, Ethan learned that Victoria's mother had passed away the previous year after a long illness. She had spent years caring for her while simultaneously running the company. The experience had left her emotionally isolated. Success had brought money, status, and recognition, but it had also left her painfully alone. One winter evening, a severe snowstorm swept across Chicago. Roads closed, traffic stopped, schools announced delays. Employees rushed home before conditions worsened. Ethan remained at the office, trying to finish a presentation. When he finally looked outside, snow was falling so heavily that the city had nearly disappeared. Victoria approached his desk. She asked if he had somewhere safe to go. Ethan smiled and joked that unless his old sedan magically transformed into a snowplow, he might end up sleeping in the parking garage. That was when she asked the question, "Do you want to stay tonight?" The company maintained several executive guest suites for emergencies. She explained that one was available. Nothing more, nothing less. Yet something about the moment felt significant. Not because of romance, because of trust. For years, Ethan had felt invisible. Like the world only saw his struggles and responsibilities. But, standing there, he realized someone finally saw him, the real him, the hard-working father, the exhausted employee, the man trying every day to build a better future for his daughter. That night, they talked for hours about grief, about loneliness, about sacrifice, about the people they loved most. Neither of them pretended life had been easy. Neither of them hid their scars. And for the first time in years, Ethan felt understood. Months later, something remarkable happened. Victoria created a new company. Initiatives supporting working parents, flexible schedules, family emergency leave, childcare assistance, programs that helped employees balance work and home life. Many people praised her leadership. Very few knew the inspiration behind it. She had seen firsthand what Ethan endured every day, and she wanted others to receive the support he never had. The greatest surprise came during the company's annual awards ceremony. In front of hundreds of employees, Victoria honored Ethan with a special recognition award, not for sales, not for productivity, but for resilience. She spoke about courage, dedication, and the quiet strength of people who carry heavy burdens without asking for recognition. Ethan looked out into the crowd and saw Grace sitting in the front row. Her eyes were filled with pride. At that moment, every difficult morning, every sleepless night, and every sacrifice suddenly felt worth it. Before we reach the ending, please leave a comment with the words, "Kindness changes lives if you believe one act of understanding can transform someone's future." Years later, Ethan would often remember that snowy night, not because